He was on my mom's side, so it was my mom's dad. Came from central Sweden, from the province of Dalarna. He came in 1924 when he was 18. And most of the people in the Swedish community know this story, that he came without his fiddle because his family told him, "You're going to America to work, not to play." And soon after he got here, he made a fiddle, and then he met a little bit older guy from exactly the same area, who was also a good fiddle player, and they met and they played together. So he had a fiddling partner right from early on in the start of his new life in the U.S. And met my grandmother, and they got married, and he stayed. He hadn't intended to stay in the U.S. for more than about a year or so, but he did. And those two played together for years. And, like all immigrant communities, they stick together and they speak their own language, and they have their own music and their foods and parties and so forth. The people from Dalarna established a organization, and some of the other immigrants were fiddle players, not from the same town as my grandpa, but from the same region of Dalarna. And in the 1950s, they had enough of a group that they made a record, and they called themselves the Minneapolis Doll Orchestra, and that was done in the late 50s. I grew up in that family. Grandpa played the fiddle, and then his son Bruce, my mom's brother, also played the fiddle. And then when I was old enough, I did. And then we had three in the family: Grandpa, Bruce, and myself. And then when I was probably 12, 13 years old, I was strong enough to be able to play the lead. And my grandpa would switch to a second part, and my uncle would chord.
Hmm.
And then about the middle 1970s, 1974, 75, some people from the Smithsonian happened to be in Minneapolis, and they heard us play, and they discovered my grandpa at that time as this keeper of this tradition, and brought us to the Smithsonian Festival and to the National Folk Festival, and so at that time, then my grandpa was recognized as this important person, because he really hadn't changed the music from when he came. He didn't go off and play a lot of different things. I brought it to the American Swedish Institute. After my grandpa died, there was interest around the community. There were other musicians from different backgrounds that really were intrigued by the music, and it had an appeal. So then they came to me to learn it or to record it. And I was just married and starting a family, and it wasn't something that I could be doing at home in the evening. So I approached the Swedish Institute, and we started with classes there that I taught. And then that developed into the Spelmanslag, or the playing fiddlers team. And my son Daniel is mostly the musical director of the group, the one that stands in front and leads rehearsals and leads performances. He's picked it up really big time, and he got hooked on the older style of playing. So he plays a lot with my uncle Bruce. There's the two of them play a lot together. Daniel's traveled to Sweden several times on his own, and he likes the older guys and the older way of doing it.